Day one of calling DoorDash's bluff is in the books. Let's get right into it on this segment of the Gig Geezer. If this is your first time checking out the Gig Geezer, hey, thanks for coming by. And if you're a returning visitor of the Gig Geezer, thanks for coming back. And if you would not mind, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. Well, it is Wednesday, October 5th, 2022, and I'm actually out here for my evening hustle. And I would have had something to say really about the first half hustle, but I had a very good first half that was all catering related, and that's in another Gig Geezer segment. This one now is about DoorDash and its Accept More, Earn More program. And just as I suspected, what I've been talking about of late in a couple of Gig Geezer segments, if you can check out these thumbnails here, I've suspected that DoorDash has been squeezing me. I have been penalized for the last several weeks for not accepting orders at a rate that DoorDash feels that I should, having maintained single-digit acceptance rate for all this time now, for over the last 2+ years. DoorDash has now made it such, it appears, that it is forcing drivers to accept more orders in order to see more orders. Not so much as earning more money. Basically, you will earn more just by being able to see more orders. And that's what I'm getting at. In my last Gig Geezer segment, as you can tell right here with the thumbnail, I said that I was going to call their bluff. I guess the fact that I work multiple apps as I do, I did not push in all my chips, but I pushed in a number of chips to force a showdown on the river. And it appears that DoorDash has turned over his cards, and it's telling me you need to reset your acceptance rate. All right, so now I am actually on a Grubhub drop-off that's going to pay $12 and change, and I've already accepted a Waiter/Spike Squatter, otherwise known as ASAP, order for $10.97. I'm guessing that order is not ready yet. I've picked up from there a number of times, and so I know that there's always a wait with them, and so by the time I get there, that order should be waiting on me. But back to DoorDash. Here's the deal. As it is right now, I just had to uninstall and reinstall my app for the third time today. Uninstalling and reinstalling my app at least 3 times a day is a very common experience for me on the DoorDash app, and that's been the case since like April or May. I've had to uninstall and reinstall as many as 6 times in a day, but 3 to 5 times in a day is par for the course, especially if you happen to let an order time out. And as you see here on the inset, that is exactly what happened. The order timed out and the app just froze. It just dummied out on me. If not that, sometimes I will kind of toggle back and forth between the app, and depending on where I'm at, the app will freeze on me. Now, when you tell DoorDash about it, they say, "Well, have you cleared your cache or something to that effect?" That's got nothing to do with it. It's the app. DoorDash is a large app, and so it takes up a good bit of space by comparison to other apps that you may have on your phone. But given the scale of DoorDash's app, as how many people are on it, we're talking millions of people are on it at any given time between drivers and customers. The app is very unstable, and I've kind of hinted at this from time to time, but I'm actually taking this segment of the Gig Geezer to actually talk about it. But moving on, I have so far this evening seen 3, maybe 4 orders come across my screen, none of which have been something that I would accept. Earlier today, I saw 7 orders come across my screen, none of which were something that I would accept. No large orders came across, nothing inviting, nothing remotely close to what I would accept came across my screen today. So I am seeing where DoorDash is really has I'm not gonna say DoorDash had a couple of aces, in its possession, but it had a strong. It's showing a strong hand. Let's just say that if this is a flush, I'd need a full house or a four of a kind to beat it. It appears that DoorDash isn't playing around. It is rewarding the thirsties. It's rewarding the butt wipes, the butt shines, who have accepted every order to obtain top dasher status. Maybe because they complained about being laughed and ridiculed, DoorDash figured, well, you know what? If they're doing all this, we need to reward them. Or it could be based on the fact that DoorDash, understanding the metrics of things, is saying, look, we need these orders to be delivered. We need these orders to be delivered in a timely, expeditious manner. And if it means forcing people like me to come up with an acceptance rate that kind of helps in their greater scheme of things, and if I'm to actually try to stay active on this app, at least this is what I'm gathering as their mindset. If I am looking to make any type of money on this app, then I have to raise up my acceptance rate, which I really don't want to do. I mean, I have done well maintaining single digits acceptance rate, but I guess now the minimum standard is 50. The next category is 70. And then the best category is if you get closer to 100. I kind of hinted at that too. The 100, 70, 50 category. The 100 is probably where you're going to get, if you imagine a funnel coming down like this. 100, you're going to get access to everything. 70, you're going to get access still to a good amount. 50, well, you know, you'll get some and you may not get some. And then anything below, you're fucked. That's what I'm seeing now. But so far for me, my saving grace right now, at least this evening, as I do this evening hustle, is the fact that I have multiple apps. I have multiple options. And so it's not a dire situation. Once I pick up that waiter / bite squad / ASAP order, I will be somewheres around $45 in about an hour and a half. That's not bad. That's not bad. That's pretty close to Gig Geezer type pace. It's just that this is being done without DoorDash, and that's kind of different. It's kind of, I'm not going to say uncomfortable, but it's a different feeling right now when you know that you're having to rely on other apps and DoorDash is out of the, it's like just basically right now, it's almost as if I'm existing without DoorDash, as if I'd been deactivated, but not been deactivated, if that makes any sense. And that's a different psyche. It's a different strategy that you have to go through. But then again, I'm also saying that if I'm willing to call their bluff, my calling their bluff will be continuing to work other apps. And if I get the large order program orders to come across my screen, great. If not, then I will, I guess, press to try to make things happen as I have so far today. All right, it is getting dark and it is about 7:15, although about 10, I want to say about 6, 7, less than 10 minutes ago, I accepted my first DoorDash order of the day. 8 items. It's showing 8.6 miles. An offer of $8.75. And it's from Chick-fil-A. Actually, Chick-fil-A is will be the next stop after I drop off this Bite Squad order. And hopefully I'll get there within the next 10 minutes. DoorDash likes to sweat you when it comes to getting to orders in a certain timely manner. I don't understand it. I mean, but that's the algorithm. That is DoorDash with its, I feel in some ways, its third world mindset in terms of making sure that drivers are heading in the direction of orders. As you well know, DoorDash will take an order away from you if you're not showing progress towards an order, just like Grubhub does that. DoorDash will take away an order from you if you've not made any movement in a certain period of time, as will Grubhub. Those of us who work across multiple apps, that's something we deal with from time to time. It's not a frequent thing, but it does happen from time to time. Well, my thing right now is that I've got my first order of the day with DoorDash, We're talking about like 15 orders that have come across my screen in over, what, almost 3 hours of being on the app today. 3 hours, and I got one order. So yeah, DoorDash maybe, DoorDash again is playing a strong hand. I rate it probably 2 pair, maybe 3 of a kind. And in order to be 2 pair, you got to have 3 of a kind. In order to be 3 of a kind, you got to have full house. It's that simple. It's not a comfortable situation. I don't feel comfortable with DoorDash in my current strategy. I don't feel comfortable the fact that while I can rely on other apps, I admit I like DoorDash for the volume of orders that come across the screen, whether I take them or not. But then also, as I've also acknowledged, DoorDash still has accounted for 1/3 of the money that I've made so far this year, and as I would venture to say, over the last 2 years, 2 previous years dating back to 2020. Next time I come back, I will be wrapping up this segment of the Gig Geezer. And by the way, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer, hit that subscribe button, give my content a thumbs up, share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. To set things up, I had a very solid first half hustle in which I made $170.38 and roughly in about 2.5 hours, having completed 3 catering orders. And for you dollars per hour people, that is averaging over $60 an hour. Now, my hope yesterday evening when I went out was that I would at the very least make $200. But my goal was really to make $100 regardless in my second half hustle. So starting out, now it took a while for me to see some orders, and that usually what happens when I go out in the evening. But the first order that I accepted was a Ubre's order from Five Guys. The offer was $8.97. And while I was in the parking lot of Five Guys, I happened to see a Grubhub order come across my screen from Panda Express, which was right down the road from Grubhub, and that order was going to pay $12.22. I started with the footage from yesterday evening. I'd already dropped off the Grubhub order. I was en route to dropping off the Uber Eats order, and then I'd accepted a Grubhub order from a place called Backstreet's Grill that was offering $12.47. And I'd also accepted an order as I left Backstreet Grill for $10.97 from a place called Za's Pizza, which is right down the street from Backstreet Grill. Now, once I dropped off those orders, that brought me to just south of $45 in about 90 minutes of work. And so I felt that I was on Gig Geezer pace. So now, having brought you up to date, I'd accepted that DoorDash order, 8 items, is showing for 8 point miles for $8.75. And that was from Chick-fil-A. I was en route to I was actually en route to Chick-fil-A, having dropped off the Waiter/Bite Squad order. I got a notification from DoorDash saying that, well, it looks like that you're not making any progress from there. And that was like 7 minutes prior to DoorDash actually unassigning me from that order. It had not taken me 15 minutes, but DoorDash said that 15 minutes of inactivity, and so we're taking the order from you. But what I will say is that DoorDash did me a big favor. DoorDash is not the end all be all for me. And while DoorDash accounts for roughly 1/3 of the money that I've made this year, DoorDash is one of 11 apps for me in my gig hustle. But then again, what I will admit is that it's nice to have a gig app, at least in this market, in which you know that you should be able to look to it for a lot of volume. And DoorDash provides a lot of volume, a lot of opportunities in which you see orders come across your screen. And then you can kind of work your strategy from there. In your market, it may be a different app. It may be Grubhub or Uber Eats, and that is true. So, but the keywords are in your market. Now, it turned out that DoorDash did me a big favor by unassigning that order. I eventually, as I was actually migrating to another part of the Columbia metropolitan area, I got a offer from DoorDash, a stacked order, 5 items. It was showing 9 miles for $14.25. Basically, it was heading in the same direction where I was migrating to anyway. And that was from Pasta Fresca and Bonefish Grill. Here's what I noticed after accepting that order. My supposition or my questioning was that what would qualify as a higher paying order with this accept more, earn more program? What would? DoorDash said that we would receive priority to these so-called higher paying orders that would be paying at a minimum of $1.50 per mile. And that's based on tips, base pay, and peak pay. This particular order, despite the 9 miles and $14.25 offer, actually fit within those parameters. Now, that's me not having accepted, that's me not having reset my acceptance rate. That's me not having been officially recognized by DoorDash, having now qualified for accept more, earn more. This was just a normal order that I would accept otherwise. The other thing that I questioned leading up to this was what would qualify, how much would a higher paying order look like? Well, as I have often shared, my order selection preference is $8 for a single order, $14 minimum for a double stacked order. And again, this order fit within my parameters already. Going back to this order that I actually accepted, the stacked order from Pasta Fresca and Bonefish Grill, this order eventually paid $19. It turned out that both orders paid $9.50 each, and so that's $19. It was after accepting that order and having migrated to another area that I also started seeing a steady flow of orders. Earlier in the evening, I wasn't seeing anything, and it had me wondering whether DoorDash had gotten the upper hand on me in that maybe I did need to accept more orders in order to see more orders. That has been my concern all along. Not so much as what the orders would pay, but whether I would see any volume of orders. But again, I began to see a steady stream of orders coming along. That order put me at about $63 and change. And then I accepted 2 more orders that evening. The next one that I accepted was a $15 plus order from Grubhub. And then the last order that I accepted for the evening was a Uber Eats order from CC's. And that order eventually paid $13.67, bringing my second half hustle to $92.65 in about 3.5 hours, or for you dollars per hour people, $26 and change per hour. For all that said, I was 1 order shy from reaching my $100 stated goal for the second half hustle. Also, from what I can tell, at least my initial observations from yesterday evening, being that it was a Wednesday, which is the middle of the week and not really one of your busier days of the week in most markets, yesterday was somewhat of a split pot between DoorDash and myself. That really, I managed to actually get reasonably close to my stated goal while working as if this accept more, earn more program had never existed. So that leads me to believe that, at least after one day, that yes, this could have been a mind game. And yes, this could have been a bluff by DoorDash to get you thinking that I need to get a part of this in order to get the money. Now, here's where this is really a question of your strategy all along. If you have been employing a strategy where you've just been going along with what DoorDash is offering, then what DoorDash says with this is going to look better. Of course, you're going to look like you're going to earn more money. But if you've set minimums for yourself, like as I have all along, as I have stated, at least on this channel for over the past year, you'll find that really what DoorDash is trying to do is get you to accept the status quo, the mediocrity of things. And that is a concern that I have with Top Dasher. There is talk among many drivers that they are seeing a better quality of orders because DoorDash is rewarding them from having maintained at least a 70% acceptance rate. And if your acceptance rate get even higher, you may see even better orders. As I showed in the footage, there's this, imagine this funnel that's funneling down. If you're at 100, you're probably going to see a greater volume of orders. If you're at 70, you'll still see your share of orders. When you get to 50, it may be here and there, but you should see something better. And then if you accept, like myself, less than 10% of the orders, then you may be squeezed out. Well, that's for debate. That is really for debate. But the point is that these drivers, these Top Dasher drivers, are saying that they're seeing better quality orders that are paying more, when in fact they just not used to these type of orders. You don't hear me on this particular, you rarely hear me talk about higher paying orders, because it's almost like in football. The coaches used to tell guys, don't go berserk that you scored a touchdown. Act like you've been there before. And I've been there time and time again. What would probably get me excited is if I had a $150 DoorDash order. That would be different. But me seeing 40, 50, 60, 70, sometimes $80 orders, it's no big deal. You get used to it. But to further elaborate on my point, according to some numbers that I've shared previously, the average customer order on the DoorDash app is anywhere between $35 and $50. And the assumption is that these orders the assumption is that these orders should pay more, but that's not true. But then again, you've gone through all this to earn Top Dasher status just to possibly see these orders or these order amounts of $35 or more. Well, you're doing all that just to get the average, the median, the mediocrity. You're just doing all that to reach mediocrity. Is that worth it in the greater scheme of things? That's a mind game. That's a mind game that DoorDash is playing. That's a bluff. And that's the point of my previous Gig Geezer segment, and this is the thumbnail, is that I am calling DoorDash's bluff. Or as some would say, I'm calling BS on DoorDash. Yeah, I'm calling bullshit on DoorDash. And I may be right. And if I'm right, hey, I'm just right. Okay, it's not going to break DoorDash. They're a multi-billion-dollar company, but it's the mental thing. It's the mental approach about things. So here's the thing. If DoorDash a part of artificial intelligence is to anticipate your actions. A part of artificial intelligence is this non-human mechanism anticipating your moves. Okay, and if somebody can control the way you go about doing things, it can anticipate your next move. And the machine learning process of it is the mathematical computation of this. The only way that you can beat this is to multi-app. The only way that you can beat this is not to think the way they want you to think. Now, there may be some truth that in some ways we all are thinking, but the way you get around it is to have other options. As long as you've got options, man, they can't corner you. And so if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer or in any other segment of Gig Geezer, hey, subscribe button. Give my content a thumbs up. Share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. I'm Inwood Lane, and as always, may your hustle and may your grind continue.